man.
Okay, so my number 9 game is Blood Rage by Eric Lang.
What type of game is it, Ben?
It is a area control game, not a dudes on a map game.
What an insightful thing to say.
Thanks, Tom. Ding. But yeah, I love Vikings, these guys will probably point out.
And anything Norse.
And anything Norse. And
Albeit.
I love anything that
Just like
Eric. I love anything that Eric Lang has done in terms of board games and stuff in the past and things.
It's
So
nice that you specified his board games, not like his lifestyle choices.
I've met Eric Lang as well, and he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, you should have got your
my little Thor card.
Yeah, you should have got your
It's
Thor
got
card.
Flomp on it, but yeah. But yes, I just think this game is one of those ones which is a little bit of an evolution of things like Chaos in the Old World, but it's taking old game mechanics from the likes of Risk and stuff like that, and then giving it a new twist and a little bit of a spin and a bit almost like a modernization to things. So it's got like, I mean, you know, as I said, area control and stuff like that, but it's one of those games that has that aspect of things, but it's not one of those games where you can just turtle up.
Yeah,
Like, the thing
that's definitely-
the thing that really points out Blood Rage as a game that is area control for the new is that it's be progressive and keep killing, go places, do
and
stuff,
be killed.
and be
Like,
killed.
in a normal area control game,
Yeah.
if you were told, hey, if you go in that area and you'll die, you'd
Yeah.
say, I'm not going to go in that area.
I mean, I've only played it once, but I definitely
Did
felt...
you win?
I didn't.
No. Okay. Right.
That's not me either. That was me.
Pure.
Oh, it's Ali. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
But I definitely felt that it is forcing conflict.
Yes.
Which is
Yeah,
exactly what you
which-
want
which is
when
good-
you're
which is
looking at
good because-
Ragnarok and stuff.
Yeah,
like
which
that.
is weirdly small worldy.
Yes.
You know
It is
what I mean?
quite
Like
small-worldy.
it is a small world, like, and it
Yeah.
gets smaller.
Smaller.
That's one of
Yeah.
the coolest things.
Yeah.
But what you were saying there about sort of kill or be killed, it leads into the card drafting mechanic that I really like to this game that adds another level to it. Because it could very easily have been something where you have that number of rage, you spend that, you put the guys on the board and you move.
Yeah.
And then there are like
Yeah.
special powers according to your card or whatever, right? And you whatever. But that card drafting mechanic means that every time you play, you might try a different kind of strategy.
Yeah.
You might go with the sort of hell side of things and get
Or
guys
Loki
killed. Or,
and-
that's it, Loki.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Or you might go with Thor and try and get the glory and all that kind of thing as well. But
Yeah.
and then also, you know, you've got that little. So there's that card drafting mechanic which
Which is
to the way you
yeah.
like to play.
Which is really different to Chaos in the Old World. Like Chaos in the Old World,
Yeah.
you have those amazing cards, but each card's factions are unique. And I don't think
Yeah.
that one is better than the other because in Chaos you can, like, I'm Khorne, and those cards will make you feel like Khorne. Whereas in Blood Rage, whichever faction you are is entirely moot, which
Effectively.
arguably could be considered a weakness. Do you know what I mean? Like, you almost think that in this game there would have been like, hey, if I'm the Bear clan, then you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
there should be, but
I
it's
think
interesting that that's
it's
absent.
It's because effectively this was Eric Lang looking at trying to make a Euro game though in a way.
Yeah, no,
so
that's
he's making
true.
a Euro
No, that-
game,
that's-
which he'd never really done before, I guess. And then this moves it to that next level and gives it that Ameritrashy type feel with all the big models and things like that.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the monsters
card play
are
and
like
things.
super cool. Like,
Yeah.
like if you compare the monsters in this to, again, well, it's hard to not compare it to Chaos in the Old World because it's Eric Lang and it's like area control. But
Yeah.
like the greater demons in Chaos in the Old World, you're like, wow, those are big. And then like you play Blood Rage and you're like, boom.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
Like, I mean, it feels, again, you've got these big monsters and you've got the big Vikings and all these guys looking amazing and fantastic. It feels like you're in that moment. And that's one of the things I really like about games, mostly throughout all my list, is that it immerses you in that kind of atmosphere. For example, looking back at number 10, with K2, it feels like a climbing game.
yeah.
Yeah.
With Blood Rage, you feel like Viking clans charging in and destroying things. And,
I guess
breaking
that's
pieces
the
and
reason
stuff.
to have, because really, like, if you look at it, you could have had like the tribes dudes be cubes,
Yeah.
the tribe leader be like a
Yeah.
striped cube, and the monsters be a token that says troll on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You didn't need
Well,
the miniatures, but for you're
Yeah.
saying that actually increases the
yeah,
theme of the
like
game.
there's another
Like,
game that's in the same sort of vein as this. It's a lot more. You're obviously called In the Name of the King,
Yes.
and that has cubes.
Just
It's very
cubes.
much like a
Yeah,
little
just
sort
cubes,
of tight Euro game. That's all about area control and controlling things. And you're encouraged to be aggressive and take over parts of
Yeah.
the map and stuff. But Blood Rage takes things to another level and adds in, the whole really cool looking miniatures and the cards themselves feel thematic and stuff.
But it does add it. I mean, like I feel like I'm criticising Blood Rage, but I think it's interesting because, like it also adds in a price point. Like how much is Blood Rage?
Well, I don't know. It
You
was
know.
expensive, but
Right, and how much is In the Name of the King?
well, In the Name of the King is decidedly cheaper. That's the
You know what I mean? Like Blood Rage would have
like
been,
well, no, it's not. It's not a cheap investment to get into Blood Rage.
like
And
if Chaos in the Old World had miniatures like this, there's no question that it would be like a blingier game,
yeah,
and technically maybe would get, but it would also be how much more expensive?
yeah. Sorry.
Do you-
Yeah.
I mean, the thing I like about it as well. Sorry, Alec, is
That's
that as well as it works very well as a self-contained box, but the amount of different expansions they've done for it bolt on quite nicely. I mean, we only have the 5th player expansion. We haven't actually played with 5 players just yet.
Yeah, it doesn't-
But there are other expansions that I've looked at through the Kickstarter and things. So you've got the mages and you've got the actual gods that will be on the table.
yeah,
and
I
stuff
think
like
that would be really interesting to see if how much that enhanced the game and that it didn't bloat the game. Because like with the Chaos in the Old World expansion that puts in the
Skaven.
Horde Rat, I've only played that a couple of times and I don't remember it feeling. I don't remember enjoying it as much.
From what I've heard from people, I think because of the way the Blood Rage has been made and it's designed around that board, and it's almost these are compartmentalized stuff. So it's a little bit like what you get with the extra expansions you got towards the end of Seven Wonders. Where they add
Fable,
something,
yeah.
but they
Yeah,
actually
they're modular.
they
Modular,
complement
yeah.
what's happening.
Yeah.
And all the different enchantments and things that add actually give you the extra powers that you were talking about and stuff like that. and the
Yeah,
gods on
yeah,
the
that'd be
table. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be really interesting to take it to that next level. So it almost has like a collectible aspect to it as well. And as a, like so you could go out and buy those other expansions
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
It's-
And as a hobbyist, one day I
Oh,
will
you-
paint the rest of the. I will
Right,
paint these miniatures.
timestamp on this bloody video.
It won't get done for many months.
Like,
but
the miniatures are at least the monsters. Like,
Well, no,
it's
yeah,
so
like-
not all the chieftains.
But yes,
Yeah.
like if you are a hobbyist, because this is Studio McVeigh and they make fantastic resin miniature. I mean, this guy used to work for Games Workshop and stuff like that in the past, so he's got a good pedigree with all of the metal characters and stuff you would have seen during the 90s and the 2000s and stuff. And they don't like metal, but
or
like
characters.
he creates models that are war game quality models.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
a
yeah,
board
yeah.
game.
Like,
Yeah.
So-
you could put
Yeah.
these on a miniatures table game, and people would not say, "What are those doing?" Like Descent as a comparison.
Going back to like actual the mechanical aspect of things though, it's also quite easy to learn.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not.
a really
it's
good
not.
point.
It's,
That's
it's
a really good
like
point.
there can be
Yeah.
area control
Yeah.
games and stuff out there that you need to wrap your head around a couple of extra mechanics and things like that. I mean, not spring to mind at the moment, but there are out there. But this is very simple. Put things on the board, start killing things.
Yeah.
So I think to a lot of people it will appeal because it's got big, awesome, really cool models, and you do really cool things on the tabletop. so
It does look really good.
Well,
Like aesthetically, because
if you like that kind of game,
yeah,
like
yeah.
this is a very like when people talk about like the industry being male focused, like this is such a
it is a
boys'
male
game.
but right.
like all the women
Yeah.
are your typical
Yeah.
Conan women. And that's not a slight, like that's the aesthetic they've gone for.
Yeah.
So for instance, like Claire
Yeah.
or Nick would not see this game and be like, hey, like Claire might
Maybe,
like the
yeah,
models,
yeah, I
but
think
like
she would.
for instance, like if
Well,
you compare it to like another area control,
She'd like them a lot more if they were painted.
God is the Fury. Of course,
if,
first.
if you compare it to like a game like El Grande, right, another area control game, and that's just cubes in a tower, the neutrality of that will turn some people on much less.
Yeah.
Like no gamer, like boy gamer, like
Yeah.
with his black t-shirt, he's gonna walk past El Grande and be like, "Oh, dude, what do you do with those cubes?" But like, likewise, no one's
Yeah.
gonna be like blood rage,
Yeah,
dragons.
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
What time?
I mean,
Sorry.
I think for the aesthetic they've gone for, it works.
nailed it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
works exactly.
I like it.
works
It's
really
just-
well.
I mean, the reason it's on here, a lot of it is because of the theme and everything like that, but it involves people that I love a lot of what they do. Like Adrian Smith is a fantastic artist.
Oh, it's the
he
artist.
did all the art for this.
All right.
Eric Lang is the designer.
Is he another Games Workshop artist?
He's
as
a
well?
Games Workshop artist.
So you got a Games Workshop miniature designer.
Used to be a Games
Used to be.
Workshop, yeah.
So he is a current Warhammer artist then.
Well, he has done
Adrian
stuff
Smith.
in the he's done stuff for Warhammer Quest. And
So the
unfortunately
model of
it's
this story, the moral of this story is that really, when Games Workshop are making all these new board games, they need to get Eric Lang to come and make their board games.
I mean, yeah.
So
yeah.
so
Yeah.
look good.
What I'm really interested to find out about this is, the next game that's coming out from is Rising Sun, which is one that's coming out at the
So
start
good.
of next
It
year, I
does
think, in
look really
February.
Yeah.
And while this was like his
supposed to be his risk.
This
and the
was
next
like
one's
his
diplomacy.
His next one is his diplomacy.
Yeah.
And I'll be interested to find out whether or not Rising Sun does something similar but different enough to push Blood Rage out of people's.
Oh, I hope not. I hope
Because
I hope
diplomacy
it's like
obviously-
a sister game.
Diplomacy
rather
obviously,
than a-
it's meant to be like the big sister to Blood Rage kind of thing.
big sister.
As in, like it's going to
Really?
be much bigger.
Oh,
And
really? I didn't know.
because it's
that.
going to have a lot of the things that diplomacy has in it, so it'll have like the
Yeah.
talking to each other and making deals.
Yeah,
with each
yeah.
other.
Oh, right.
But because it's got that area control element to it, like diplomacy does, I'll be interested to see whether or not it has an
Actually,
element, whether it has a little bit more depth.
I hope that
to
it's
push
not going to
Blood
be
Rage.
like for instance, like people would say that this. A lot of people would say this pushed out Chaos in the Old World in the same way that you would say that.
Well, you can't buy Cousin the Wall now anyway.
In the same way that you would say Caverna pushed out Agricola. Now there are
Yeah.
people that prefer Agricola and there are people that prefer Chaos.
But
But
I think what's going to affect a lot of it is the aesthetic itself.
No,
Because I know
that's
that
very
you
true.
really like Japanese stuff.
Yeah.
and
yeah, Samurais are way
and
cooler than
things.
Vikings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, you guys might graduate towards that, gravitate more
Yeah.
towards that, whereas I would probably be more.
One thing we haven't
Yeah.
said actually
But-
that gives this like a big thumbs up over, let's say, Chaos, is the length. Like it's actually a surprisingly short game.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
it
it's
is, yeah.
over quite quickly, which sounds like oh my god, it's over quite quickly. No, it's
No,
like
no.
as in it feels. Here comes pretentious shut up and sit down moment. It feels like a Viking raid because they're in
Yeah.
and they've messed you up and then they
What you were
Yeah.
going to say there.
and then
But-
you know
Yeah, no,
If there was any negative I could say about the game, it's that
how ugly the ball is.
no, I like the board, but is that you can sometimes play the game and fall into repeat patterns of playing it.
Yeah, that's
Because there have
very
been many,
true.
many games where
Yeah.
you've played it and you've gone, well, I might as well just go down the Loki route.
Yeah, like
And
I'm
you're-
going to draft this card.
Because you see
you
that
know.
firsthand and you're discouraged from doing things.
Like certain leaders
Yeah.
in Seven
They
Wonders.
do
oh,
try-
yeah, Archimedes.
They do
You know.
try and mitigate it by having some cards taken out of each of the different ages.
Yeah,
They remove two, but it's only two
yeah,
cards. And there are
That's-
times. I mean, this is why it's only number 9.
I would
not
agree.
number
That's my
5.
biggest problem.
But
with
it's one of the
games.
things where it's like, ugh, what that
Oh,
person's just playing
You're
Loki.
playing the
again.
Loki game again.
So it's like, and
Yeah.
then
yeah.
yeah. But other than that, I think it's a pretty solid game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would play it most times. If I didn't have enough time to play
Yeah.
it El Grande,
Yeah.
I would play it.
I
Blood
need to
Rage.
play it more. That's
I
all.
want to play it with 5 players to find out if that's expansions. will
Yeah,
apply.
yeah. No,
But-
it's a hack and slash romp.
It is.
With a surprising amount of like, it's
Yeah.
like a good Viking movie if
Yeah.
such a thing ever existed.
The
Yeah.
TV show.